Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Iron Will, and got another book review for you. So this week I've finished David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me, and he's got a phenomenal story. I've got to just tell you right out, phenomenal story. It's definitely one that you need to be mindful of. If you don't like strong language, hey Chris, then definitely don't read it. David was a Navy SEAL. He grew up in Indiana, and he goes through, and while telling us his life story, kind of, he also lays out lessons that he learned, which is really the crux of the book, is to share the things that he learned going through the process of getting ready to go into the SEALs, being a SEAL, and then going on and getting into, hey, Kathleen, getting into ultra distance racing. Hey, John. So the first quote that I pulled out of this book that I want to share is, failure is one of the biggest gifts of life. And what he really talks about is that failure is how we learn. And when we try to accomplish something and we fail, it's not a sign from the universe to give up. It's a sign of, hey, figure it out, try again. In his book, he talks about having to go through Hell Week 3 times. And the first time I think he was running on broken legs at one point because his shins were so splinted and his feet were all messed up. And the second time, I think he did something to his knee. The point is if you feel strongly and passionate about something that you are to achieve or that you want to achieve, you got to put in the work and learn from your failures and keep moving towards that goal. The second quote that I took is, stop competing with the world. And one of the things that I learned a couple years ago as my boys started swim team where we live is they are taught from the beginning that they're racing against their last time or their best time, whichever is the case. And while there's other people in the pool, the focus is on their own performance. Keep working on that. A really good example of that in swim is Michael Phelps. When in watching interviews and reading about him, as he was really big in the Olympics a couple years ago, he never focused on the other swimmers. He was only focused on his own goals and pursuing his own achievements. The third quote that I took is, in order to find peace, you have to go to war with yourself. And this is a concept that I'm just now beginning to understand. I've gone through a couple different audios in our learning system recently that really hit on this point, as well as some of my own personal experiences in trying to sort out where I'm at in things and try to understand my own journey and where I'm going. And this is a theme that he brings up throughout his entire book, is that in pursuing this goal of being an ultra runner, doing marathons, that he had to focus inward, look at what he was doing, make changes, make improvements, and then go from there and go after that goal by challenging himself and pushing himself farther. And sometimes life can really hand us some bad cards, or they're giving us the challenges that we need to succeed. And that's really the way that David frames things in his book, is we are given the challenges that we have to overcome them. As a Christian myself, I believe that you can get help from a higher power. He also expresses that belief. That there's a higher power at play in the universe, and that that deity, that God, in my case Christ, can help us through those challenges. That those times where we really have to, when we really need to get down and get tough with ourselves, that we can always call upon our faith to help us through those challenges. So again, fantastic read, great book. He's done a lot more than I knew. I really got introduced to him through a newspaper article that was talking about a book another person wrote about spending a month with David Goggins. And this guy, David, taught this the guy who wrote the article how to push himself. And I did not look it up beforehand, so I couldn't tell you the book. I'll look it up and drop it in the comments below. Because he talks about living with David for this month and training with him. And it was just really a good article, which then made me start looking and taking notice. And I saw that they had published a book, or written a book, and it got published, which is why I ended up reading it. So yeah, go out, take a look at it. Again, language, be mindful. If you don't have a problem with language, you probably won't have a problem at all with the book. If you're a sailor, you're in the Navy, you might not have a problem with the book, the language in the book either. But one thing in the audio book is that he tells extra stories. So, which is how I read it. I listened to the audio, which was really great, because he just added extra nuggets to it as he and his ghostwriter went through the book, and the ghostwriter read it, and then he would add comments, and they would stop and talk. So probably a much better deal to get the audio version. It's up to you. Guys, thanks for coming and spending time watching my videos. If you get value from this video, please like and share it. If you want to connect with me on other social media platforms, go to ironwill.net/CS. I know I really need to clean that up. And then, of course, the most important page on my website is the self-education page on the upper left-hand side, where it'll take you to a list of over 90 books that I've read, and I highly recommend for others to read. If you do want a book recommendation, hit me up on Messenger, because I don't want to give a blind recommendation. I want to talk to you, see where you're at, and see where your head's at, so I can make a better recommendation of a book to read. Other than that, I hope you guys are not getting too stir-crazy out there. Go out and make it a great weekend. I'm going to have a fantastic weekend with the family. And stay safe, my friends. Catch you later.